6 things avoid if you want peace. Laziness is not simply the absence of action. It is the quiet erosion of our inner strength, the slow decay of potential, and the silent thief of peace. People often think of laziness as just lying on the couch or delaying work, but at its core, laziness is much more dangerous. It is the refusal to honor the gift of life and the opportunities that time provides. When you are lazy, you're not just postponing tasks. You are postponing growth, dreams, and the inner peace that only discipline and progress can bring. Every moment of life is momentum. One small action leads to another, and slowly, the rhythm of progress builds. But when you allow laziness to set in, you interrupt that rhythm. In the beginning, it feels harmless. You tell yourself, I'll do it later, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes another tomorrow, and soon weeks and years slip away. And here is the tragedy. While you were waiting for the perfect moment to move, life never waited for you. Laziness wastes the one resource you can never get back: time. Philosophers across centuries have warned us about this trap. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, reminded himself daily that he was not born to lie in bed, but to rise and fulfill his purpose. He wrote in his meditations, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I am rising to do the work of a human being.'" He understood that laziness is not just a personal weakness. It is a betrayal of the human spirit that was designed for action, growth, and contribution. But here's where the connection to peace becomes clear. Laziness creates restlessness, not rest. The mind of a lazy person is rarely calm, because deep down, you know you are betraying yourself. You feel guilt for the things undone, anxiety for the opportunities wasted, and frustration at your lack of progress. Instead of true peace, you live in the noise of procrastination and self-disappointment. Real peace does not come from avoiding effort. It comes from knowing you did what you could with what you had in the time you were given. Think of nature. A river flows constantly. The sun rises without fail. Seasons change with rhythm. Nothing in creation is lazy. Movement is life. Stagnation is decay. When you resist movement, you resist life itself. Laziness is unnatural to the spirit because your soul was made to expand, not to shrink. Now, let's look at the misconception many hold. I'm lazy because I lack motivation. But motivation is unreliable. If you wait to feel motivated before acting, you will wait forever. Discipline, not motivation, is the cure for laziness. Peace is born when you learn to act, even when it feels slow, even when you don't feel inspired. Small, consistent steps break the chains of inertia. Progress, no matter how small, multiplies itself. The first page you read leads to finishing the book. The first walk you take leads to a healthier body. The first attempt you make leads to confidence. Laziness also thrives in comfort. When life gives us convenience, it whispers that effort is unnecessary. But history shows that every person who achieved greatness embraced discomfort, not luxury. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but it rarely gives peace in the long run. Peace comes when you face the challenge, complete the task, and rest knowing you honored your own potential. To overcome laziness, you must change how you see action. Do not see it as a burden, see it as liberation. Every time you choose to move, you are freeing yourself from guilt, from wasted potential, from regret. Peace belongs to the diligent, not to the idle. So rise, even if slowly, even if progress is small, even if the results are not immediate. For every step taken is a declaration. I value my life. I refuse to waste it. Laziness may seem harmless, but it is the enemy of peace. And the cure is simple. Choose action, however small, over inaction. Because momentum, once created, becomes unstoppable. And in that unstoppable flow, you will discover the peace you have been seeking all along. Reacting is easy. Restraint is power life constantly provokes us. People say hurtful things, circumstances frustrate us, and unexpected obstacles test our patience. The natural instinct is to react immediately, to defend ourselves, to lash out, to prove a point, or to release anger. Reacting feels powerful in the moment. It gives us a temporary sense of control, a quick satisfaction. But here lies the paradox. While reacting feels strong, it actually reveals weakness. True strength is not in how loud your voice is or how fast your temper flares. It is in the restraint you practice, the ability to pause, and the choice to rise above instead of being dragged down. The mind that reacts to everything lives in constant disturbance. Imagine a lake. If every pebble thrown creates ripples, the water never reflects the sky. But if the lake remains calm, even storms eventually pass and its surface returns to stillness. Your mind is that lake. If you let every insult, opinion, or situation disturb you, peace will forever escape you. Restraint, then, is not weakness. It is protection of your inner world. Philosophers, sages, and spiritual teachers across history have emphasized this. The Stoics taught that we cannot control what happens to us, only how we respond. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Buddhism teaches detachment, reminding us that anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it. You burn yourself first. Even modern psychology confirms this. When you react impulsively, you operate from the primitive brain, the amygdala, which seeks survival through fight or flight. But when you pause, breathe, and choose your response, you activate the higher reasoning of the prefrontal cortex. In simple terms, reacting is animal, restraint is human. Think about the consequences of unchecked reactions. Words spoken in anger cannot be unsaid. Decisions made in haste often lead to regret. Entire relationships, careers, even lives have been destroyed because someone could not master the art of restraint. On the other hand, the person who can pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom gains respect, influence, and peace of mind. Restraint is not silence born from fear. It is silence born from strength. It says, "I am not controlled by you. I am not owned by circumstances. I am free." Imagine someone insults you. If you instantly react, they control you. Your emotions are now in their hands. But if you remain calm, you show them, and yourself, that your inner peace is not up for rent. Now, let us connect this to peace. Constant reaction keeps your nervous system in turmoil. Your heart races, your mind replays scenarios, and your body carries tension. This is not peace, this is self-torture. Restraint, however, allows you to walk away with dignity intact, energy preserved, and mind unshaken. Peace comes not by controlling the world, but by controlling your response to it. But here's the challenge. Restraint requires practice. It is not built in a single day. It is cultivated moment by moment. Begin small. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of honking or cursing, breathe and let it pass. The next time someone mocks you, instead of reacting, remind yourself, their words are a reflection of them, not of me. Slowly, you will discover that not everything deserves your attention, and most things are not worth the sacrifice of your peace. This is why restraint is a form of freedom. If you can be provoked easily, you are a slave to everyone around you. But if you master restraint, you reclaim power over your own soul. The world may throw chaos at you, but you remain unmoved, grounded, unshaken. And in that stillness you find peace, the kind no reaction could ever give you. So remember this, reacting is easy, but restraint is divine. To hold back when every nerve wants to explode, to stay silent when words could wound, to smile when anger tempts you. That is true power. And those who practice it not only protect their peace, but also inspire others to rise above noise and choose the higher road. Materialism, the modern world, constantly whispers that peace can be purchased. It tells us that if we buy the latest phone, the newest car, the bigger house, or the trendiest clothes, then we will finally feel complete. This belief, that possessions equal fulfillment, is the heart of materialism. But here's the truth. Peace has never been found on a store shelf. Peace is not hidden in luxury brands, not waiting at the end of a shopping spree, not measured by the number of things you own. Peace is found only when you release the illusion that more equals better. Materialism traps the mind in an endless chase. You acquire one thing and for a short while it feels exciting. The novelty gives a burst of happiness, but soon the feeling fades and the hunger returns. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. No matter how much you buy, your happiness quickly returns to its baseline. The satisfaction of material gain is temporary, while the emptiness it tries to cover remains. Thus, the chase continues: more money, more possessions, more status. And in this endless pursuit, peace is lost. Philosophically, materialism is rooted in attachment. We begin to identify ourselves with what we own. The car in the driveway, the clothes in the closet, the gadgets on the table. They become extensions of the self. But here's the danger: everything material is temporary. Cars rust, houses decay, fashion changes, gadgets break. If your sense of self is tied to these fragile things, then your peace will always be fragile too. When they are lost, stolen, or outdated, you will feel as though you've lost a part of yourself. True peace can never rest on what time can take away. Religious and philosophical traditions have long warned against this trap. The Stoics taught that wealth is not in having many possessions, but in needing few. The Buddha renounced his palace and riches to discover enlightenment, realizing that attachment is the root of suffering. Even Christ reminded his followers, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and rust destroy and thieves break in and steal, but store up treasures in heaven." These teachings are not calls to reject all possessions, but to recognize that peace cannot be owned, bought, or consumed. Consider this: materialism doesn't just rob you of peace, it cheapens your presence. When you obsess over things, you stop living fully in moments. You are either worrying about what you don't have or fearing the loss of what you do have. The mind becomes restless, always comparing, always competing. But peace thrives only in contentment, in the ability to sit with what you have and whisper, "It is enough." This doesn't mean possessions are evil. Money, homes, and comforts have their place. But the problem begins when they stop being tools and start becoming masters. When your happiness depends on them, you are enslaved. Freedom comes when you can enjoy what you have without being owned by it, when you can let go without fear, when you can choose simplicity over excess. Look at nature. Trees don't compete over who has the greenest leaves. Birds don't envy each other's nests. The ocean doesn't crave more water. Everything exists in harmony with what it has. Only humans forget this, chasing endlessly after more, while neglecting the peace available in enough. To free yourself from materialism, practice gratitude. Instead of asking, "What's missing?" ask, "What do I already have?" Gratitude shifts focus from lack to abundance, from restlessness to calm. You may not own everything, but you have breath, you have time, you have life, and that itself is wealth beyond measure. Peace comes when you realize that the greatest treasures are not material. Time with loved ones, laughter, wisdom, health, inner stillness, these cannot be bought, only cherished. And unlike possessions, they cannot be stolen by moth, rust, or thieves. So remember, you don't need more things, you need fewer attachments. The less you cling, the lighter you become, and in that lightness, peace is found. Not in what fills your shelves, but in what fills your heart. Gossip seems harmless at first. It slips into conversations easily, disguised as entertainment, curiosity, or casual talk. It often begins with, "Did you hear what happened?" and ends with the quiet erosion of respect for others and for ourselves. While gossip may feel like a way to connect, it is in truth a form of spiritual pollution. If peace is what we seek, gossip is one of the greatest enemies, for it distracts us from our own growth and chains us to the noise of other people's lives. At its core, gossip is borrowed energy. Instead of focusing on your own journey, you become entangled in someone else's story, a story that is often distorted, exaggerated, or incomplete. This not only wastes your time, it poisons your mind with judgments, comparisons, and unnecessary emotions. The more we speak about others, the less we cultivate within ourselves. It is a cheap trade, our presence for their absence. Philosophically, gossip reveals something deeper about human nature. Why do we gossip? Because it gives us a temporary sense of superiority. By pointing out someone else's flaws, failures, or scandals, we secretly affirm, "At least I'm better than that." It strokes the ego but weakens the soul. This illusion of strength costs us the very thing we desire most: inner peace. For peace does not thrive in comparison or judgment, but in acceptance, humility, and focus on one's own path. The Stoics warned against idle talk, urging us to speak only when words are necessary and useful. Socrates famously proposed the triple filter test for speech: is it true, is it good, is it useful? If not, why speak it? Modern psychology echoes this wisdom. Studies show gossip fuels anxiety, mistrust, and negativity, not just toward others but within ourselves. Every time we dwell on another's life, we reinforce the belief that our own is lacking. And consider this: gossip is never complete truth. It is perception layered with bias, rumor, and interpretation. By participating, you inherit not just falsehood, but also the karma of spreading it. In essence, gossip is like carrying smoke in your hands. It not only clouds others, it stains you. And where there is smoke, there can be no clarity, no peace. On a deeper level, gossip cheapens presence. Every word we speak carries energy. When we waste our energy narrating other people's lives, we devalue our own. Instead of discussing ideas, visions, or growth, we sink into trivialities. Imagine two lives, one spent building, creating, and learning, the other spent whispering about neighbors, celebrities, or colleagues. Which life is richer, which carries peace? The answer is obvious. There is also a moral dimension. To gossip is to harm the absent. They are not there to defend themselves, clarify, or correct. It is an injustice masked as entertainment, and what we do to others inevitably circles back to us. The one who gossips will eventually be gossiped about. In that cycle, trust is lost, relationships weaken, and the soul carries unrest. To free yourself from gossip is not just to protect others. It is to protect your own mind. Every time you resist the urge to talk about someone else, you reclaim energy for yourself. You preserve your dignity, your focus, and your peace. You rise above noise and learn the discipline of silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is strength. It allows your thoughts to settle, your presence to deepen, your peace to grow. So the next time gossip beckons, ask yourself, is this adding to my peace or taking from it? Is this nourishing my mind or cluttering it? You will find that gossip never builds, it only erodes. Peace belongs to those who guard their tongue, who use words as tools of healing, encouragement, and wisdom, not as weapons of idle chatter. Remember, if it is not your life, don't narrate it. If it does not build, don't speak it. Protect your peace by protecting your words, for in the discipline of speech lies the foundation of inner stillness. And in that stillness, peace becomes unshakable. Envy is a subtle poison of the soul. Unlike anger, which bursts openly, or fear, which is easily recognized, envy hides quietly in the corners of the heart. It appears when we look at someone else's success, wealth, beauty, or achievements and feel a sting, not because they gained, but because we feel we lost by comparison. Envy is not admiration. Admiration uplifts, envy corrodes. It whispers that another's fortune is your misfortune, that life is unfair, that you are incomplete, and in believing this lie, peace slips away. Envy is often described as looking at someone else's plate while your own meal grows cold. This image is powerful because it reveals the essence of envy: distraction. Instead of tasting the food before you, the blessings, opportunities, and uniqueness of your own life, you obsess over someone else's portion. The irony is, envy doesn't take away their happiness, it only robs you of yours. It is a self-inflicted wound, a silent war where you are both the attacker and the victim. Philosophically, envy reveals a misunderstanding of life itself. We assume existence is a competition, as if life were a race where only one person can win. But this is false. Existence is not a zero-sum game. Your light does not dim because another shines. The universe is vast enough for infinite stars. The oak tree does not envy the pine. The rose does not resent the sunflower. Each flourishes in its own time, in its own space, with its own beauty. Only humans, through comparison, create imaginary hierarchies and then suffer under them. The Stoics warned against envy as wasted energy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not be jealous of what others have, for what is given to them was meant for them, just as what is given to you is meant for you." Buddhism teaches that envy is rooted in attachment and ignorance. We cling to the illusion that happiness lies in external possessions or recognition, when in truth, happiness is an inner state. Even Christianity warns, envy rots the bones, pointing to its corrosive nature on the soul and body alike. Modern psychology confirms these timeless truths. Social media, where envy thrives, has been linked to higher levels of anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction. The more we compare, the less grateful we feel, and gratitude is the foundation of peace. Envy blinds us to our own blessings. It creates a restless mind, always measuring, always lacking, never satisfied. But here's the paradox. Envy can be a teacher. It reveals what we secretly desire. If you envy someone's discipline, it may signal that you long for self-mastery. If you envy their success, perhaps you are neglecting your own potential. When recognized with honesty, envy can be transformed from poison into guidance. Instead of saying, "I wish I had what they have," ask, "What can I learn from their path? How can I grow in my own way?" This shift turns envy into inspiration. Yet the ultimate cure for envy is gratitude. When you train your eyes to see what is already present, health, relationships, opportunities, experiences, you begin to understand that your life is not lacking. Gratitude grounds you in sufficiency. It teaches you that your journey is unique and cannot be compared. Just as two melodies can be beautiful yet different, two lives can be fulfilling without one being superior to the other. Peace cannot coexist with envy because envy is rooted in scarcity while peace is born of abundance. When you believe there is enough success, enough joy, enough beauty for everyone, envy dissolves. And when envy dissolves, you can finally eat from your own plate, savoring the richness of your life without distraction. So the next time envy whispers in your ear, pause. Ask yourself, am I neglecting my own blessings while staring at someone else's? Then return to your own meal, your own life, because peace is not found in wishing for another's story. It is found in embracing and nurturing your own. Worry is one of the most subtle yet relentless thieves of peace. Unlike anger, which burns brightly, or envy, which gnaws silently, worry disguises itself as care, as responsibility, even as love. We often say, "I worry because I care," but worry is not care. It is fear rehearsed in the mind, a constant projection into futures that almost never come true. Philosophers and psychologists alike remind us of a staggering fact. Most of what we worry about, up to 99%, never actually happens. Yet worry convinces us that by replaying scenarios endlessly, we can somehow protect ourselves. In reality, worry robs us of the present moment, leaving us trapped in imagined problems while life's real beauty passes us by. At its core, worry is an attempt to control the uncontrollable. The human mind craves certainty, but life offers none. So the mind begins constructing stories, predicting outcomes, running what-if simulations. What if I fail? What if I get sick? What if I lose everything? But these endless questions do not prepare us. They paralyze us. Worry, therefore, is not preparation. It is wasted imagination. It takes the creative power of the mind, which could be used to build, dream, and solve, and diverts it into a cycle of fear. Philosophically, worry reveals a lack of alignment with reality. The Stoics taught that peace comes from distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. Your actions, your thoughts, your choices, these you can shape, but the weather, other people's behavior, the unfolding of the future, these lie beyond you. Worry blurs this line. It tricks you into believing that by obsessing over the uncontrollable, you somehow gain mastery, but in truth, you only surrender peace. Epictetus was clear: make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. This is wisdom. Religion also speaks profoundly on worry. In the Sermon on the Mount, Christ asked, Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? The question cuts to the heart. Worry achieves nothing. It cannot extend time, prevent tragedy, or guarantee success. It can only consume energy, cloud judgment, and weaken the spirit. Buddhism echoes this. Attachment to outcomes breeds suffering. Worry is attachment disguised as concern, and liberation comes only when we release what we cannot hold. Modern science agrees. Chronic worry or anxiety activates the body's stress response, raising cortisol, disturbing sleep, weakening immunity. Worry does not just disturb the mind, it corrodes the body. Thus, worry is not harmless. It is costly, stealing health as well as peace. But what is the alternative? The answer is not indifference but presence. When you stop feeding the mind's endless what-ifs, you return to the now. And the now, though imperfect, is always manageable. You may not know if tomorrow will bring rain, but you can walk steadily today. You may not know the outcome of a challenge, but you can prepare wisely, do your best, and release the rest. This is not passivity, it is freedom. The cure for worry, then, is twofold. Control what you can and surrender what you can't. When faced with fear, ask yourself, is this within my power? If yes, act with courage. If not, let it go. This is the highest form of strength, not forcing life into your mold, but flowing with it, trusting its rhythm. Imagine worry as a heavy bag you carry everywhere. Each what-if is a stone. At first it seems necessary. Surely these stones will protect you. But the further you walk, the heavier it becomes until you can barely move. Peace comes the moment you set the bag down. The stones were never protection, they were only weight. So remember, worry does not prevent tomorrow's troubles, it only empties today of its joy. True power lies in releasing the uncontrollable, living fully in the present, and meeting life as it unfolds, with calm, courage, and faith. That is the kind of strength that no worry can shake, and the kind of peace that no fear can steal.